I'm back again with a bit more on my introduction to Bible journaling. So last time we just had a look at different styles of journaling and how things can look in the end result and how everything can look different, and that's okay. And I just wanted to take you through a little bit of the process that I'm going through right now, trying to see if I can design and think about another Bible journaling course or pack or whatever it might end up being. At the moment I'm not too sure. It will depend on people's interest and what's going on, but I thought I'd take you through some of the process that I go through in order to create that, and that's one of the ways in which I take my leap off into the Bible journaling. So my starting place was I did some journaling a few months ago with some friends who came round, and I had pulled together just a tiny little initial thought that I'd had, that reflecting on that image of the running father from the prodigal son, that he was God, that represents God running after us. And who else in the Bible had God been running after? That image has stayed with me for months and months now, and what did that mean for those people who he went running after? So I pulled together a list of names that just came to me at that moment, and we chose one and read a passage and journaled there. But I just felt that I wanted to take it a bit further, and as life ebbs and flows with my energy levels, this has taken some months to do, but I'm still going, and that's okay. So when I'm starting something like this, I'm quite scatty, so I pull together a few thoughts in a few different places, and then I have to try and remember where I wrote them. They might even be on a post-it note. I just have to write things down as it comes to me. So for this thought process, I just sketched out a few questions while I was praying one day. They were: what went wrong? What did God do? Is the sin identified? How did they respond? And then, are there key themes? Is it repentance and forgiveness? And what was their hope at the end of this encounter with God? And then this was the image that we used to Bible journal when my friends came around that month. So I took that and I made it into a table. Actually not much of a table person, but I'm using colours to be able to pull things out for me, because otherwise it looks just like a load of words to me and I can't bring it together. But there was no other way I could think of to get it all on one sheet and be able to follow these questions through all the themes properly. So I've just written all those questions across the top, and down this side I've actually started writing some, if there's an image or symbol represented in the story, so that would be something maybe to leap off with Bible journaling, especially if there was something coming across where something is consistently the same. If I was going to turn this into a pack or a course, I wouldn't necessarily be using all these people. I might thin it down and find the ones that key themes run in the same thread. So I grabbed the Bible app and looked up in my Bible where I could find the certain people. So I'm using green for Peter. I don't know if you can see these fantastic little mini tabs. They're just brilliant. And then I just use that to link into the word, and then I just go through and highlight anything that really links into, there's a bit more on Peter here, links into the questions that I'm trying to answer, and I just go in and fill those in, and then sometimes that's it for the day. Sometimes I can't even do more than a couple of boxes, but gradually I'm just working it through and seeing, are there themes that go through. And actually, as a result of that, I added a new column, which is, what is their new job? Often their encounters with God then gave them a new purpose, a new identity, maybe a new freedom. So there's two, Joseph and Gideon found freedom through their encounter with God. on my first reflections. So this is my initial thoughts. If I was going to then choose to write about these people, if I find those links, I'm going to go for the next level in deepening my understanding. So after I've filled in all of these different people's stories and try to understand them just from my reflections on reading the Bible, I'm going to then take those people whose threads seem to be similar, whose journeys seem to really create that picture of God running after them and having some sort of encounter, and I'm going to take those and look at them more deeply with some concordances and Bible study guides in order to understand them better. So I'm just looking at Daniel 3 and Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, and I don't go through and do all my questions in order at all. I just read, and then as something comes to mind, it's just like, oh, that's the magic. That's where God's pointing me to. So I'm using the She Reads Truth Bible as my study Bible, and sometimes there's guides or just a bit more of a reflection on the Bible passage that I'm using. So I was just reading through that, and it pointed me to verse 17 and 18. If the God we serve exists, then he can rescue us from the furnace of blazing fire, and he can rescue us from the power of you, the king. But even if he does not rescue us, we want you as king to know that we will not serve your gods or worship the gold statue you set up. I was just like, oh, what was their hope? Their hope was God's faithfulness. Yes, that's where we're focusing in this story. So that's my first thing that I'm just popping on here from reading through the furnace of blazing fire. These guys are awesome. So I'm just going to carry on reading through. Okay, so feel that in this particular account that what went wrong for Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego was the fact that King Nebuchadnezzar made this law that everybody should bow down and worship the gold statue made of him. I don't think that what went wrong was that they didn't bow down. I think the problem is that he made that law in the first place. So that's what went wrong into that box. I'm now going to carry on reading and see if I can find what God did. Was their sin identified? How did they respond? And did they end up with a new job because of it? Okay, so I've just been reading and flicking forwards and backwards in this text. So it's in Daniel 3 if you're wanting to have a look. So I've answered, what did God do? So God met Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego in the fire. So look, I see 4 men not tired walking around the fire unharmed, and the 4th looks like the son of the gods. It sounds like Jesus was in there with them, doesn't it? And they're not even a hair on their head was singed. I've said that no sin was identified because Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego were faithful to God in all of their conversations. How did they respond? They trusted God completely and were his willing followers even if he didn't save them. Famous words. Even, I don't know if you can see, but even if he does not, we will serve him still. That faithfulness I don't think is really echoed completely by anybody else I've studied so far. Most people had questions for God or were looking for a sign, but these guys, no, they just trusted God right from the start. And they didn't necessarily have a new job, but they were blessed. So at the end of chapter 3, then the king rewarded Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego in the province of Babylon. So they were recognised for their faith, and almost it was a turning point in King Nebuchadnezzar's life too, wasn't it, if you read on in his story. So there's my little study on Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. I've just noticed images of fire and the golden statue as potential references for Bible art journaling, and I will carry on another day and have a look at Sarah.